Queen Akim of the Valtharan Empire sat upon her crystalline throne, her violet eyes blazing with barely contained fury. At 23 cycles, she was the youngest monarch to ever rule the Seven Systems, and she had earned her crown through cunning and ruthlessness. Her advisors cowered at the edges of the vast throne room, their chitinous bodies clicking nervously as they awaited her next command. "Find him!" she hissed, her voice echoing through the chamber. "This human who dares resist our expansion. Bring him to me in chains." The human called Mir had become a thorn in her side over the past rotation. His guerrilla tactics had cost her 3 mining colonies and an entire fleet. Intelligence reports suggested he worked alone, which seemed impossible. No single being could cause such devastation, yet the evidence was undeniable. "My queen," stammered her military commander, "we have deployed our entire—" The massive doors of the throne room suddenly groaned open. Every warrior in the chamber raised their plasma weapons. Akim's fingers gripped the armrests of her throne, her claws leaving deep scratches in the ancient crystal. Through the doorway walked a figure in a worn brown jacket, his hands raised casually at shoulder height, a slight smile playing across his lips. "Looking for me?" Mir asked, his voice carrying an infuriating note of amusement. "Seize him," Akim commanded, but something in her tone wavered. This was wrong. Humans were supposed to be weak, their spirits broken after generations of Valtharan rule. They were laborers, servants, nothing more. 20 guards surrounded Mir, their weapons trained on his chest. He didn't flinch. Instead, he lowered his hands and walked forward with the confidence of someone strolling through a marketplace. "I wouldn't," he said calmly as a guard reached for him. "I'm here to talk. You try to restrain me and we'll see how many of your people can fit through those doors before I'm done." Akim laughed, a harsh sound like breaking glass. "You? One human against my entire palace guard? Your arrogance will be your end." "My arrogance." Mir stopped 10 paces from the throne, his dark eyes meeting hers without fear. "Your Majesty, you've conquered 17 species across 7 systems. You've enslaved populations, stripped worlds bare, and called it progress. And in all that time, not one species has made you bleed. Until now." The throne room fell silent. Akim felt her blood run cold. It was true. The Valtharans had never faced real resistance. They were stronger, faster, more technologically advanced than every species they'd encountered. Victory had always been assured. "What makes you think you're different?" she demanded, though her voice lacked its earlier conviction. Mir smiled, and it was a predator's smile. "Because humans don't know when to quit. You destroyed our colonies, enslaved our people, expected us to bow. But here's what you didn't understand about humanity, Your Majesty. We're stubborn. We're creative. And when you push us into a corner, we don't surrender. We evolve." He pulled a small device from his pocket. Every weapon in the room hummed to life, but he simply held it up for her to see. "This is a dead man's switch. If my heart stops, every piece of Valtharan technology within 50 light years shuts down. Your ships, your weapons, your life support systems, everything. I've spent 2 years infiltrating your networks, understanding your systems. Did you know your entire empire runs on a modified version of technology you stole from the Kelthans? Sloppy encryption. Took me 3 months to crack it." Akim's hands trembled. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Mir tilted his head. "Test me. Have one of your guards pull the trigger. Let's see if your throne still hovers when your gravity generators fail." The queen raised a hand, staying her warriors. Her mind raced through possibilities, calculations, probabilities. If he was telling the truth, killing him meant the collapse of her empire. If he was lying, he died and the threat ended. But something in his eyes told her he wasn't lying. Humans were weak, yes, but they were also unpredictable. "What do you want?" she asked, hating the words even as they left her mouth. "Freedom," Mir said simply. "Not just for me. For every human in your empire. Full citizenship, equal rights, representation in your council. Or I can reduce your civilization to the Stone Age and let the species you've enslaved pick through the rubble." "That's impossible. The council would never—" "The council will do what you tell them," Mir interrupted. "You're the youngest queen in history because you're smart enough to make the hard choices. So make one now. Give us our freedom and I give you the codes to remove my virus. Keep us enslaved and we all go down together." Akim studied the human before her. He wasn't tall or particularly imposing by Valtharan standards, but he stood before her with the weight of his entire species on his shoulders, and he didn't buckle. For the first time in her reign, Queen Akim understood fear. Not of death, but of obsolescence. The Valtharans had ruled through strength, but this human had shown her something more powerful, the strength of those with nothing left to lose. "Guards, stand down," she commanded. Rising from her throne, she descended the steps until she stood eye to eye with Mir. "You've made your point, human. We will negotiate." Mir's smile softened. "Smart choice, Your Majesty. That's the thing about humans. We'd rather build than destroy, but we'll do both if we have to." As the advisors began to murmur and the guards shifted uncertainly, Akeem extended her hand in the human custom she'd seen in old files. Mir took it, his grip firm and warm. In that moment, both of them knew the Empire would never be the same. And perhaps, thought Akeem, that wasn't such a terrible thing after all.